Struggling to find action roguelike games that actually keep you hooked instead of feeling repetitive and frustrating? In this video, I'm breaking down the best action roguelikes that deliver non-stop adrenaline, rewarding challenges, and gameplay you'll want to dive into again and again. Get ready to upgrade your gaming list with these must-plays. Before we jump into the video, if you enjoy content like this, please hit that subscribe button. Your support genuinely motivates me to keep creating these in-depth videos and share hidden gaming treasures with you. It means a lot and helps the channel grow, so I can keep bringing you even more great content. Thank you. Then without wasting more time, let's get into the video. First up on our list is a game that is the absolute definition of just one more run addiction, Halls of Torment. Best action roguelike games. This game chucks you straight into these dark, gothic corridors where you are completely and utterly swarmed. I'm talking hundreds of creatures flooding the screen at once. But here's the kicker, you feel powerful. Your character mows through those hordes like an unstoppable chaotic force, and watching those enemies explode into little experience orbs. That's pure, unadulterated dopamine. The way you progress is just intoxicating. You start off weak, barely hanging on for the first few minutes, but as you level up during a run, you rapidly transform into this screen-clearing machine. Your abilities stack up, crazy synergies start to emerge, and suddenly you're pulling off combos that make you wonder, how am I even doing this? Now, the retro aesthetic isn't just trying to cash in on nostalgia, it actually builds this perfectly grim, heavy atmosphere. Plus, every single character plays completely differently, so unlocking a new one is like getting an entirely new game to master. And the difficulty? Oh, it does not hold your hand. You're going to die. A lot. But here's the hook. Each death makes you smarter, and that's what keeps you coming back. Alright, so next on the list we've got Curse of the Dead Gods. And let me tell you, this game takes the whole risk versus reward thing and cranks it up to 11. You're diving headfirst into these super creepy, cursed temples. It's a top-down action game, but here's the absolute killer twist. Light is everything. If you fight in the darkness, you start picking up curses. They just stack and stack, and they fundamentally change everything about your current run. Some of them are just little nudges, others are absolutely brutal. Either way, they force you to think on your feet and completely adapt your strategy. The combat is so satisfyingly heavy and deliberate. Seriously, don't go in expecting a button masher. Every dodge roll, every parry, every bit of stamina is precious. You have to be patient, study the enemy patterns, and wait for that perfect opening. When you finally land a critical hit, it just feels so damn earned. Oh, and the weapons? Fantastic. You've got everything from spears and claws to huge two-handed swords, and swapping them out completely changes how you play. The temple layouts are procedurally generated, which means they're different every time, but they somehow still feel like they were handcrafted. Traps are everywhere, the enemies actually coordinate their attacks, and the bosses will absolutely crush you if you're not precise. You're constantly having to make these tough calls. Do I take the safe path with fewer goodies, or do I risk it all on the dangerous route that could turn me into an unstoppable god? And can we talk about the visuals? The atmosphere is just dripping off the screen. It's got this unique Mesoamerican inspired aesthetic that you just don't see anywhere else in the roguelike genre. Watching those temples shift and morph between runs, it seriously never gets old. Roboquest is fast. We're talking Quake-level movement speed mixed with roguelike progression, and it's an absolute blast. You're a robot bouncing off walls, sliding under enemy fire, and chaining together kills like you're in a cyberpunk action movie. The gunplay is absolutely chef's kiss perfect. Every weapon has impact, from standard assault rifles to experimental energy weapons that disintegrate enemies. You can dual wield almost anything. Dual shotguns? Yes. Dual rocket launchers? Why not? The build combinations are insane. Each run takes you through these colorful, cel-shaded environments, and they're filled with secrets, challenge rooms, and upgrades. The game rewards exploration but never punishes you for going fast. You can blitz through a level or methodically clear every corner. Both approaches are viable. The progression system hits perfectly. You're unlocking new weapons, new classes, and new perks, and they all feel meaningful. Your starter runs versus your runs for 20 hours feel like completely different games. And the boss fights? They're massive, spectacular, and demand you use every skill you've learned. Co-op multiplayer makes it even better, but solo play is equally satisfying. Okay, hear me out on this one. Brotato looks simple, but it's a masterclass in roguelike design. You're a potato, but with guns, trying to survive waves of aliens, and it's absolutely brilliant. Each round lasts about 20-30 seconds. Then you've got a shot phase where you're making critical decisions about your build. Do you go all in on damage, stack HP and armor, focus on dodge chance? Every item you buy or sell fundamentally changes your strategy, and the game gives you so many tools to experiment with. The genius is in the variety. There are dozens of characters, each with completely different starting stats and restrictions. One character can only use melee weapons. Another can only use the same weapon type. One is blind and can't see the enemy's HP bars. These restrictions force you to think creatively and discover wild synergies. Runs are quick, perfect for just one more game syndrome. But don't let the simplicity fool you. The higher difficulties are brutal, and finding those perfect builds that let you steamroll Wave 20 requires a deep understanding of the item interactions. The community around this game has discovered some absolutely broken builds, and experimenting to find your own OP combination is half the fun. It's pure dopamine in roguelike form. Speaking of dopamine, Vampire Survivors is the game that launched 1,000 imitators, and it's still the king. This game shouldn't work. You're not even controlling your attacks, they fire automatically. You're just moving around, dodging thousands of enemies, and watching your build evolve into this beautiful symphony of destruction. The brilliance is in the escalation. You start weak, barely surviving the first few minutes. But as you level up and your weapons evolve, you go from struggling to survive to becoming an unstoppable god of death. That transformation happens every single run, and it never stops being satisfying. The weapon and item combinations are where the depth lives. You're constantly experimenting with synergies, discovering which combinations unlock evolved weapons, and optimizing your leveling path. New stages, new characters, secret unlocks. This game has content for days, and runs hit that perfect 30-minute sweet spot where you can easily fit one in, but you'll always want to try a different build. The DLC and updates keep adding more content, and the community is constantly discovering new strategies. For the price, the value is absurd. This game respects your time while also somehow stealing hundreds of hours of it. Now we're entering premium territory with Returnal, a AAA roguelike that proves the genre can work at the highest production levels. This game is gorgeous. Not just pretty, it's a technical showcase. The particle effects, the lighting, the way environments shift and transform, it's all stunning. You're on this alien planet that's both beautiful and absolutely hostile, and the atmosphere is thick enough to cut with a knife. The gameplay is third-person bullet hell meets psychological horror. You're dodging intricate bullet patterns while managing your loadout, your parasites, your malfunctions. There's so much to juggle. The DualSense integration is phenomenal. Every weapon feels different in your hands, and the haptic feedback makes combat incredibly tactile. What sets Returnal apart is the narrative delivery. There's a story here, and it's weird, unsettling, and deeply personal. But it's told through the roguelike structure. You're piecing together fragments, experiencing loops, discovering what's real and what's in your character's head. No spoilers, but the way story and gameplay intertwine is masterful. The difficulty is no joke. This game will test you. Boss fights are spectacular multi-phase battles that demand perfect execution. But the progression system is generous enough that you're always moving forward, always unlocking something that gives you a better shot next time. Biomes are massive and packed with secrets. The game respects your time with a suspend cycle feature, so you're not forced to complete a run in one sitting. And when you finally break through that wall you've been stuck on, absolute euphoria. Risk of Rain 2 took a beloved 2D roguelike and transformed it into a third-person 3D masterpiece, and somehow it worked perfectly. The core loop is elegant. Kill enemies, open chests, get stronger, survive. But the genius is in the difficulty scaling. The longer you stay in a level, the harder enemies become. You're constantly balancing greed versus safety. Do you search for every chest and hope you find god-tier items, or do you rush to the teleporter before things get overwhelming? The item stacking system is where this game becomes legendary. Items stack infinitely, and when you've got 50 plus items by stage 5, you're not playing the same game you started with. You're moving at light speed, dealing millions of damage, and the screen is pure chaos. It's power fantasy done right. Survivor variety is excellent. Each character has a completely different playstyle: snipers, bruisers, support, and engineers with turrets. Unlocking new survivors and their alternate abilities adds massive replay value. And the game is balanced so that most survivors are viable even on the highest difficulties. Multiplayer absolutely elevates this game. 4-player co-op turns run into this beautiful chaos where everyone's chasing their own builds, and the screen becomes incomprehensible. But it works, and it's glorious. The skill ceiling is incredibly high. Speedrunners and challenge runners have pushed this game to its absolute limits, but it's also accessible enough for newcomers to enjoy. And those boss fights against the final tier enemies, genuinely intimidating. Enter the Gungeon is a love letter to guns, puns, and bullet hell masochism, and it's phenomenal. This game has style for days. The pixel art is crisp, the animations are smooth, and the sheer creativity in the gun designs is staggering. We're talking hundreds of weapons, from mundane pistols to guns that shoot mailboxes, t-shirt cannons, and literal black holes. Every weapon is a reference or a pun, and they're all delightful. The dodge roll is your best friend. Mastering the timing, learning enemy patterns, and using your blanks strategically. This game demands precision. Rooms are carefully designed bullet hell arenas, and surviving them requires focus and skill. There's no button mashing your way through this one. The progression is old school tough. You're unlocking new guns, new NPCs, new shortcuts, and it all takes time. But every unlock feels earned. When you finally beat that boss that's been destroying you, or when you find that perfect synergy between weapons, it's magical. The depth is ridiculous. Secret rooms, hidden floors, NPC quests, weapon synergies that completely transform how guns work. There's always something new to discover. Hundreds of hours in, players are still finding secrets, and that soundtrack, absolute fire. Every boss theme slaps, and the sound design makes every gun feel unique. This game is a complete package, and it respects the roguelike formula while adding its own unique flavor. Dead Cells is the roguelike that made roguelite a household term, and it deserves every bit of praise it gets. The movement in this game is perfect. Rolling, wall jumping, ground pounding, everything is buttery smooth and responsive. You feel like a badass from minute 1, and as you unlock movement abilities and get better at the game, you're flowing through levels like water. Combat is fast, aggressive, and deeply satisfying. The weapon variety is staggering: swords, whips, shields, bows, traps, grenades, turrets. Every build feels different, and the game encourages you to experiment. Survival builds, glass cannon builds, trap-focused builds, they're all viable. The biome layouts are procedurally generated but feel handcrafted. The game is gorgeous, with that dark, gothic aesthetic punctuated by vibrant combat effects. And the difficulty options let you tailor your experience, crank it up for more rewards and harder challenges, or keep it manageable while you learn. The progression system is the perfect balance. You're unlocking permanent upgrades, new weapons, and new abilities, but skill is still king. A good player can beat the game with starter gear, but those upgrades give you more options, more flexibility, more ways to approach each run. Boss fights are spectacular and fair. They have clear patterns, but they'll destroy you if you're not paying attention. And the game keeps expanding. new biomes, new bosses, new mechanics. The devs have supported this game for years, and it just keeps getting better. The speedrunning community around Dead Cells is incredible, and watching pros absolutely demolish this game is inspiring, but it's equally rewarding for casual play. The Binding of Isaac is the roguelike that influenced an entire generation of games, and it's still an absolute masterpiece. Fair warning, this game is weird. It's dark, it's disturbing, it's full of biblical imagery and body horror. But beneath that unsettling exterior is one of the deepest, most replayable roguelikes ever made. The item system is legendary. There are over 700 plus items, and they all interact with each other in complex ways. You're constantly discovering new synergies, new combinations that break the game in spectacular ways. Every run is different because the item pools are so vast and the interactions so intricate. The twin-stick shooting is deceptively simple. You're firing tiers at enemies, dodging attacks, and managing your resources. But the skill ceiling is enormous. Enemy patterns, room layouts, boss mechanics. Mastering this game takes hundreds of hours, and you'll still be learning new things. The progression is overwhelming in the best way. You're unlocking new characters, each with completely different playstyles and starting items. You're unlocking new floors, new bosses, new endings. There are challenges that will break you, and the game just keeps giving you reasons to come back. The modding community is absurd. Repentance, the final DLC, added so much content that it's essentially a sequel, and the community-created content extends the game even further. This game is a commitment. It's not for everyone, but if you get hooked, you're looking at potentially thousands of hours of content. The depth is unmatched, the replay value is infinite, and the feeling of finally beating a challenge that's been wrecking you, unparalleled. And at number 1, we have Hades 2, a game that took everything great about the original and somehow made it even better. Supergiant Games proved with the first Hades that you can have a roguelike with an incredible story, full voice acting, and characters you genuinely care about. Hades 2 doubles down on everything. The narrative is deeper, the character interactions are more meaningful, and the voice acting is absolutely stellar. But let's talk gameplay. The combat is faster, more fluid, and more complex than the original. You're playing as a completely different protagonist with a completely different moveset, and learning these new mechanics is a joy. The weapon variety, the boon combinations, the strategic depth, it's all here and improved. The art direction is stunning. Every environment is gorgeous, every character design is memorable, and the animations are silky smooth. This game is a visual feast. The soundtrack is incredible, Darren Korb knocked it out of the park again, and the sound design makes every hit feel impactful. What makes Hades 2 special is how it respects your time while still being a legitimate roguelike. Every run progresses the story, every death unlocks new dialogue, new plot threads, and new interactions. You're not just grinding for mechanical progression, you're invested in these characters and their stories. The difficulty options are perfect. God mode for players who want to experience the story without excessive challenge. Extreme difficulty modifiers for veterans who want to test their limits. Everyone can find their sweet spot. The boss fights are spectacular multi-phase battles with incredible music and satisfying patterns to learn. The build variety is enormous. Every run can feel completely different based on your boon choices, weapon, and playstyle. And the game is still in early access. There's more content coming, more story to discover, more mechanics to master. But even in its current state, it's already one of the best action roguelikes ever made. If you're only going to play one game from this list, make it Hades 2. It's the perfect entry point to the genre, and it's a masterclass in game design. Roguelikes can be tough. Dying over and over again, losing all your progress, and starting from scratch can feel frustrating. But that's also what makes them so addictive. Every run teaches you something new, every defeat makes you stronger, and that victory after countless tries, totally worth it. If you enjoyed this list of the best action roguelike games, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more gaming videos like this, and tell me in the comments which roguelike pushed you to your limits but kept you coming back for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.